Hello and welcome to What I'm Buying This Week with the Unemployed Value Degen. And yeah, this week was one for the history books. It was pretty amazing. And just to put things in perspective, the S&P 500, well, it's not the healthiest looking chart. It's starting to give the appearance that it might be rolling over. And it closed below the 50-day moving average. And the last candle, they call it a spindle candle, like a spinning top, and it means the market's very indecisive. You already knew that. What was really amazing about these last 2 weeks, and I just wrote a macro piece. I don't want to go into it too much because it's just what I just wrote yesterday. The S&P 500 went from, and this is defining overbought and oversold by standard deviations from the 50-day moving average, but still, it went from overbought to oversold to overbought to oversold, 4 switches in a 2-week period. It has never done that before. The last time it came close, I think it had 3 switches in a 2-week period. It was, during the dot-com era, which is, there's a lot of people making comparisons to the dot-com era, and so much about the artificial intelligence revolution is so different. I'm not expecting the stock market generally to crash for several years. So I don't want to make too many comparisons with the dot-com era, but this indecisiveness, right? In the span of 2 weeks, it was kind of like, AI is going to dramatically increase productivity, and then AI is going to disemploy everybody, and then, AI is going to rewrite all the software, and then then all the banks' debt that's attached to the software will all go bankrupt. All the SaaS companies are going to zero, and then all the financial companies are going to zero. It's just back and forth, back and forth. It's this kind of whiplash, this kind of zigzag. I mean, 4 reversals in 2 weeks. It's just never happened. It's a market that can't make up its mind, which is pretty incredible, because all this stuff about efficient markets, about how the other guy at the other side of the desk knows more than you or something like that, it's all garbage. Nobody knows what's going on right now in the artificial intelligence revolution. And that's fantastic, because that means there's enormous opportunity. We ended the week in fear for the fear and greed index. There are things about the fear and greed index that aren't ideal. The way that it covers the put-call ratio, I'm not a fan. It does the 5-day average. If you look at the spikes, one thing that's interesting is we're almost up to the levels that we saw in the November sell-off, and the November sell-off was serious, right? I mean, in the November sell-off, the S&P 500 had that drawdown ending in November. But look at the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000, it was brutal. We were well below the 50-day moving average from October to November. It was not a fun time. But the put and call index, we're almost at the same levels, and the market this time has not sold off. Let me show you this. This is just a little bit cleaner way of doing the put call ratio. It's not doing the 5-day average, it's just doing the daily figures. And we had a spike in put buying. And frequently, when there's a spike in put buying, when everybody has their hedges in place, the market tends to stop going down. Because once you have your hedges, you don't have to sell out of fear. So most of these put buying spikes correspond with a temporary low. But here, I mean, the market hasn't fallen. It looks awful. It looks like it's starting to roll over. But the market hasn't fallen, and people have already bought their hedges. Now, one thing that's not great about the put-call ratio is if people are also buying a lot of calls, then it's not quite as obvious. Because one thing about the AI revolution and also the structure of the markets now, people are buying a lot of call options. So I wouldn't read anything into this spike being, less than these ones. The behavior is pretty clear. People have enough insurance. So I don't think the market has to crash from here. And I think that's very interesting, that we had so much fear for a market that's essentially flat. But the indecisiveness was incredible. Just that in 2 weeks, that reversal, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. And that has just never happened before. I think,